What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. It's great to be here with all of you today. We have a very exciting soundbite coming up here for all of you, as always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin, Tony. We have a lot to go over. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, all these names being thrown out there on the QB carousel. First of all, Gavin, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Zach. It's been a long 48 hours. Zach, we hung out on Sunday, and man, I'm so tired from the weekend. But Zach, no, we went out. We had some fun. But how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Doing good. Got myself a brand new hat. I don't have it on me right now. It's upstairs at my desk. Yes, I'm back to my old location today. Unfortunately, don't worry. It's not the last time I'm upstairs, but brand new hat, Black Phillies hat, little red undertone to it. Took some time to figure it out which one to go with, but I'm pretty happy with my choice. Gavin deciding to omit the hat. There was a nice gold Yankees hat, but unfortunately not in his size, so he did pass up
I have a big
on
head,
his
ladies and
selection.
gentlemen. I have a big head, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I couldn't pull the trigger on this one hat. And the one thing I don't like about hats, Zach, is when they don't have the size you want, they don't have them in the bag. It's what you see is what you get. I think that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, some places you go, they do have stuff in the back, but of course, in this instance, they did not. But no, in all seriousness, fun weekend. With that being said, Gavin, let's get to it, man. Dak for Russ is the question today. No, I'm not really implying that that'd be a trade that would happen. At this moment, I don't think Russell Wilson gets traded from the Seattle Seahawks, at least not at the moment. But let's focus on Dak Prescott. This feels like deja vu. We talked about this last year. We had the same argument last year. Gavin, at one point you were defending Dak Prescott, then you weren't defending Dak Prescott. Then after he got hurt, we were both defending Dak Prescott. He made $34 million last year. It's not nothing. I think the franchise tag will be $37, $38 million this year. When you go out there and you pay Ezekiel Elliott, you pay Amari Cooper, you pay DeMarcus Lawrence, and all these other players that you've paid, it's kind of hard to defend why you wouldn't pay your quarterback. The front office, which I think should shut up. I've been saying that for a long time, of the Dallas Cowboys, keep saying Dak's our guy, Dak's our guy, Dak's our guy. Where's the contract at? Apparently today his agent said he wants Patrick Mahomes kind of money. You don't play like Patrick Mahomes. You don't deserve that money. $30 million is a good spot to be. You were lucky to get $34 million last year. You're probably going to end up getting 35, 36 a year, which is way too much for quarterbacks nowadays. But whatever franchises want to pay a guy, it's whatever. We all know it's the rookie deal that gets the job done anyway. So from the Cowboys, I do move on from Dak Prescott. But then again, it's hypocritical because you just signed Ezekiel Elliott 2 years ago to a 5-year deal, and he gets in trouble off the field. You knew this when you drafted him. He had trouble on the field, trouble off the field. You sign him, and he's had 2 mediocre years to back up ever since his contract. And Tony Pollard looks better sometimes. Amari Cooper, same thing, gets shut down every now and then. We've been here before, Gavin. It's like, stop me if I'm repeating myself. We've been here. Why is it that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott still cannot get a deal done almost an entire year later?
Zach, from the last time I understood, it was the years. All right, Cowboys wanted a 5-year, Dak wanted a 4-year deal. Because if you're Dak Prescott, you take a 4-year deal. You're at the end of your contract. You're 30 years old. You're in your prime. That means you can still get paid again. He's not wrong for wanting a short-year deal. But, Zach, here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. They paid everybody but the right person. Zach, we saw it last year on what happens when you don't have the guy leading the team. I don't care about what Ezekiel Elliott does. All right, he didn't do much, Zach. I had him on a fantasy team. I was the first one to tell you he didn't do anything. And then you have Amari Cooper. Zach, we know what Amari Cooper did for Dak Prescott, how it opened up the pass game for him and then made that look like just all-star. But at the front of the matter is, you need Dak Prescott. I mean, Zach, his career, he's completed 66% of his passes. He is over the 17,000 mark in passing yards. 100 career touchdown passes, over 100 career touchdown passes, and only 40 interceptions, give or take. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, I know he missed this year, but Zach, his best season was 13-3. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we all know Aaron Rodgers and Lambeau South and Jared Cook. But the next year they go to the playoffs again, and they actually win a game. Zach, why don't you pay this man? Is he worth, like you said earlier, is he worth Patrick Mahomes' money? No. He has to win a Super Bowl and do some other things and actually elevate his team. Zach, he doesn't do that. Our Pat Mahomes is on another level with elevation as team. But does he deserve some money? I agree so. Zach, I'm not going to give him $40 million. All right? But there's a fine line. Dak Prescott is a great quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback. I mean, Zach, right here, He in 2017, and then this is the closest thing, the latest thing I can find on Dak Prescott. In 2017, since he entered the league, and this is written in 2019, 5 wins, 9 losses versus teams with a winning record. Zach, we even saw it 2 years ago when the Eagles, like Carson Wentz's last good year, where the Eagles were basically on the outside looking in, and Dak Prescott couldn't beat a winning team to save his life, and the Eagles sneak in the playoffs. I don't know what to tell you. Is he worth top tier money? No, but he's not bottom tier money. That's for sure.
Well, 34 million wasn't bottom tier. If they can sign to if he has to concede to a 5-year, $160 million deal with a good amount of that guaranteed, I don't see what the issue is. But Dak Prescott, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys and he comes to me and wants Patrick Mahomes' money, I'm letting him walk. And I'd hate to do that because he's a good person. He's been through a lot in the last year too. For those who haven't really read up on some of his situations, it's tough in the personal side, the humane side, to sit here and say Dak Prescott's not worth the money. One injury can knock you out of the league. It could have this year for him. Fortunately, it seems like he's going to recover just fine from the injury. But at the same time, you take a look at a guy like Jared Goff, who was also in that draft class. A guy like Carson Wentz. Both guys who, by the way, aren't even on the same team they were drafted by or extended by. And then you look at Dak Prescott. All three, they don't cause issues off the field. I mean, Carson Wentz is debatable if you believe these reports or not. But all three of them seem to be pretty mild-mannered. All three of them have had one season where their team was hot. Were they part of it? Sure. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys were riding Ezekiel Elliott, a great offensive line, a great defense, and Des Bryant. Dak Prescott did his job as a rookie, very impressive, rookie of the year. Carson Wentz and the Eagles with the number one defense and number one O-line. And Jared Goff with the best run game and one of the best defenses in the league. But two of those guys got paid. What's the difference? One team paid the running back and the wide receiver and other guys first. The Rams, on the other hand, paid both their running back and quarterback at the same time. The Eagles, on the other hand, I don't know where their money went, honestly. They went to Alshon Jeffrey and a few other guys. Nothing too big for the Eagles, but they're in some bad cap situation. We'll get to that another time. But the bottom line is this. There were three quarterbacks that are notable in the 2016 NFL draft. All three of them appear to be starters for their respective franchises at this moment. Two of them have been given monstrous deals after relatively successful seasons. Dak had one of those, but the difference is Dak had it his rookie season, and it doesn't seem like they've done much since then. They made one playoff win against Seattle a couple years ago. And then for the Eagles, Carson Wentz, no playoff win. So, relatively speaking, yeah, Dak should get his money. But logistically speaking, I think a 32, 33 million a year is a good spot for Dak. If he wants to get close to 40 million, which he probably will, then yeah, you can get that. But you're not worth Patrick Mahomes' money. I don't know where that's coming from. I think that's all craziness. I don't agree with it at all. I'm not a big fan of paying anybody, honestly, if you ask me. But I understand that, especially at the quarterback position, if you don't cause trouble and you do your job, it's big. But then, Gavin, you said wins against teams above 500. And some of the other factors, it's just hard to say that he's
probably updated since that one. Probably updated since that, but yeah.
I mean, it's tough. He had what, 1 win, 2 wins this year. He beat the Giants. Of course, he got hurt in that game, and they beat the Falcons on a lucky onside kick recovery. Atlanta beat themselves in that game. I'll be honest with you. He was putting up some of the same stats, but it's the end of the game. It's the same old, same old. So the ball is in Dallas's court, I'd say. It's up to them to give the offer. We'll see how the saga continues. I just still don't understand how you pay Zeke and Amari Cooper first before you pay Dak Prescott. I don't get it. And especially this year, Andy Dalton did not look special in that system.
And Ben DiNucci, I finally learned his name, Zach. It took me a couple months to learn his name. But, Zach, look, if we had Trent here, he would say Dak Prescott is not worth Patrick Mahomes' money. Zach, when we're talking Patrick Mahomes' money. I don't think
you ask anybody that question, they'd say that.
But hold on, babe. If you're talking Patrick Mahomes' money, let's think about what does Patrick Mahomes do? When you put him on the field, you are guaranteed to win. You know you have a higher chance of winning. He is a game changer just himself. Just himself. Zach, Lamar Jackson, the same way. I know last year was a little bit of struggle, but let's go to the year where they go 14-2. Zach, Lamar Jackson, game changer. All right? Deshaun Watson, game changer. I mean, Zach, he accumulated a majority of Houston's offensive yards. Josh Allen, we know he's going to get a big contract. Game changer. But Stephon Diggs deserves some money first, by all means. Dak Prescott, to me, is not a game changer. He's the best game manager I've seen in a while. I mean, Zach, him, Baker Mayfield, and a few others, but he doesn't. There's nothing about Dak Prescott that will make me come out and scream and say Pat Mahomes money right away. Not at all. I mean, but if you look between Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff, he has a better completion rate, all right, as career 66 versus their 62, and Jared Goff 63. When it comes to interceptions, he has less between the two. Now, give or take a sec, he didn't play 2020, so we know how that was. But when you talk about paying somebody, you got to take into account everything. This man is a leader and role model on and off the field. Zach, he doesn't get in trouble, which doesn't make sense. You pay a guy in Ezekiel Elliott who just is, I mean, what do you want to call it? That trouble every year almost. There's always something with Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke's always got something.
Then let's go to another team. Let's go to the Rams. You pay Jared Goff, right? But Zach, when they went to the Super Bowl, it wasn't Jared Goff doing it. It was Todd Gurley. Zach, that was before arthritis was a thing for Todd Gurley. I mean, the last time I checked, I think Todd Gurley got arthritis in that season due to the fact that he ran them all the way there, and then Aaron Donald and the crew were just unstoppable. So that's where Jared Goff got his money from. Okay, got it. So let's go to Carson Wentz. 2017, Zach, we know how that was. Looked phenomenal, all right? You had people around him. You had great talent around him. He goes down with injuries. Zach, we feel that he got robbed of MVP. A lot of people in the city feel the same way. What happened after that? Now, we can sit here and play the Carson Wentz game, Zach. We have 100,000 theories, but we don't know which one's true. We could say it was coaching. We could say the digression. But all in all, at the end of the day, the man was paid, all right, Zach? The man was paid after he took the team to playoffs and then didn't even get a chance to win it in a game. Play a game. Finish the game, actually, to be exact. But Dak Prescott has been to the playoffs, has the best offensive talent out of those three. Maybe you could say the Rams have better. But, Zach, I mean, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Amari Cooper, you have Michael Gallup. You had, before the offensive line was injured, you had a great O-line, a top 5 O-line.
He had it last year, and they went 8-8.
They couldn't.
The Eagles Wentz, who had less talent, went 9-7.
And that was a matter of not being a team over 500. Zach, they didn't beat any team over 500 at all last year. They couldn't do it at all. I mean,
Eagles beat the Packers in Green Bay in Week 4. They beat the Bills in Buffalo. They beat the Cowboys, of course, at the end of the season. And the only reason that the Cowboys had one more win against a team above 500 is because when they lost to the Eagles became above 500. So, look, I said early in the show that Dak Prescott's better than Carson Wentz because he does the basics. I'm going to stand by that for the time being. But he has not elevated his teammates. He has not played the game better than Carson did in previous years. He could not have brought that team a couple years ago to the playoffs the way that Carson Wentz was able to, and that's why he got paid. Jared Goff, not a big fan of him getting paid at all. Dak Prescott deserves money. Him and his agent just can't get in the way because the Cowboys are going to hold their ground.
Okay, so what's your contract? Well, if you are Jerry Jones, which I know you're far from Jerry Jones, but if you were in this situation, Zach, he has all the leverage. I mean, your team looks like hot trash without you, and
they didn't look good with him. They didn't look good with him this year.
They didn't look good with him, but they were putting points up. That was the only difference. They were able to put points on the board and take them down.
I'll tell you what. I'll give him a 5-year, $165 million deal, average $33 million a year.
He doesn't want the 5. He wants the 4. That was the problem last time. It was about the years.
If he signed the 5-year last year, he'd have 4 years on it this year. So if he signs a 4-year this year, it's like he really could have guaranteed it last year.
I mean, you could look at how you want. I don't think Dak's can't.
He's got number 19 on that team. He's got number 13. Get Trent on here. He'll agree with me. You got 19 there. You got 13 there. You got 88 there. You got 21 there. You got 20 there. You got that. You got so much talent on that offense. And they are one of the best offenses in the league. They were number 1 in every metric but points 2 years ago. However, they were the worst first half team and one of the best fourth quarter teams when it didn't matter. The quarters where it matters, the first quarter and the third quarter, because that's when the clock's not really running out and you can take your time and actually use your playbook. They were one of the worst teams in the league.
Zach, when you look at this year and look at the couple games that Dak Prescott played, you're right, Zach. They were down. All right, they didn't look the best. Yes, people talk about how they weren't terrible. They weren't terrible, but they weren't the best.
I'll pull up the box scores from some of the games this year. Because it's so hard to, when you look at the box score and you don't watch a game, you see Dak Prescott 40 of 50 for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to sit here and say it's Prescott's fault they lost, but let's see.
That defense is horrible. Zach, they can't stop a nosebleed.
Ready? Listen to this: Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. 14 first quarter points. That's pretty good. 0 second quarter points. 0 third quarter points, and then 24 fourth quarter points. That's stat padding when you're playing against a team that put up 49 points. Now let's look at the Falcons game, which they shouldn't have won. Cowboys, 0 points in the first quarter, and then you get 10, 14, and then you end the game with 16 points. I got to be honest, I don't see where like this is evident in itself. Against the Rams week 1, tough catch for them. Let's look at the Cowboys-Seahawks game, 38-31. The score looks pretty. Cowboys, 15 first quarter points, and then the second half they had a 7 out of 9. Those are late points. That's when it doesn't matter the most. That's been the Cowboy way, and that's why his stats look so good. They got to figure it out. It can work with him, but I don't want to hear the number one offense in every metric but points excuse. Passing yards are the most irrelevant stat in my opinion. It's all relative, and so that's kind of where my case stands. I think a 5-year, $165 million deal is generous, especially with up talent around, because you got to pay CeeDee Lamb too, and Michael Gallup might want money in. What happens when some of those guys leave and it's just Amari Cooper and a bunch of scrubs? Is Dak Prescott going to be able to overcome that? Those are questions that we will not know.
Well, there's major problems with just the offense. Let's look at the defense. I mean, you give up 20 points. You give up 20 points to the Rams. That's not bad. Then you give up 39 points. You shouldn't have. Zach, they had no business winning that game. You give up 39 points. Then you give up 38 to the Seahawks. Then you give up 49, almost 50 points
to Cleveland.
To the Cleveland. Zach, that's 100 plus points in just those 3-4 weeks alone. And then you turn around and you win, but you give up 34 points to the Giants. You give up 38 to the Cardinals. You give up 25 and 23 and 24 to Washington, Philly, and Pittsburgh. And then you lose, and then you get a win, then you turn around and then you lose 41-16 versus Washington. You gotta fix the defense at first. You gotta fix the secondary. You gotta fix the linebackers before you can pay anybody.
Can you do that? Can you do that while paying Dak Prescott though? Especially with a shrinking cap.
A shrinking cap, and Zach, aren't they over the cap too? I think they are.
They have a lot of work to do too if they want to bring Dak Prescott back. This is a dangerous game when you start paying all of your players. Just remember that's where my case will rest. Not big on paying running backs. Aaron Jones is about to hit the free agency market because Green Bay probably won't pay him. I don't disagree with that at all. They have 2 young running backs there that are going to work. There's not much else I can really say on this topic. I think Dak Prescott will be a Cowboy. I think they'll overpay for him. I think Dak – I don't think there's going to be a clear winner in this deal. Dak will get paid and the Cowboys will have their quarterback. But it's not going to be what Dak wants is Mahomes this money. But the Cowboys are also going to be stuck paying a lot of the bill. And good luck because you need a lot of talent around Prescott.
Zach, you paid a lot of money to Ezekiel Elliott, who only had 2 100-yard games this year. 2 100-yard games, and I want to say maybe 3 to 4 games over 90 plus. I mean, he was close to 100.
No, Zeke he didn't have a good year, and he's the highest paid running back.
It wasn't just one; it was 2. He had 2 bad years back to back. That's highway robbery. That is highway robbery in a sense.
Amari Cooper too. Like he didn't have a very productive year either. The Cowboys are a joke of a franchise. They really are. I'm not just saying that as an Eagles fan because the Eagles are also a joke. But in all seriousness, you can't be throwing money around at everybody. If you're going to pay people, you got to pay your quarterback, you got to pay your O-line, and you got to pay your D-line. And that's where I'll make my closing statements for today.
The question is Dak for Russ. If you're Russell Wilson and you have a no trade clause, and if you remove it, would it make sense? Zach, Russell Wilson, our division, I know we don't want to see that twice a year, but it would help them. It would help the Cowboys out offensively, but it won't mean much of your defense isn't great. Zach, you're just swapping.
I don't know how much dead cap will be on the Seahawks, but that's a $38 million a year contract.
What's going to happen for our question of the day today, which was going to happen is Russ is going to stay in Seattle for this year, and he will most likely move to New Orleans next year. Now, if he does move this year, it will be to New Orleans, and he'll be writing a check back to Seattle because that's the only way I see how it moving.
I will tell you one team to keep an eye on, and a few years ago before he signed his contract, they were up. If he stays this year in Seattle and it doesn't work out, take a look at Manhattan, the New York Giants. I guess I should say East Rutherford. I'm too much on the Knicks talk right now. But no, in all seriousness, New York Giants. If it doesn't work in Seattle this year and the Giants are ready to give up on or trade Daniel Jones, keep an eye on that because he's been pretty interesting. I think Sierra wants him going to New York and playing in Big Apple. I think that's a team to keep an eye on. I know I've heard New Orleans. I've heard Dallas. But if it's next year, assuming that he stays this year and plays, which I think he will, keep an eye on New York City. I think that the Giants could be a top suitor for him.
The Cowboys have a lot of problems, Zach. They have a lot of problems, and I'm not saying that as the Eagles fan because Zach, I know if we look at our team, we got a lot of problems. So we got a general manager that doesn't know how to do cap right and push everything back to this year and realizes that we're in a pandemic year now. Having said all that, Zach, if you're the Cowboys, figure this out. If not, that franchise tag moves up to almost majority of the cap this year. Zach, he's almost at $40 million on franchise tag. And Kirk Cousins said that could be your friend too. But
he used it. He used it in Washington.
He used it and somehow got paid in Minnesota, which I don't understand why. But Zach, my last question for you is, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Who really deserves to be paid? Because I feel like everybody's getting paid nowadays. I mean, Sam Darnold's probably going to get paid somewhere. Maybe that might be a little over-exaggeration. But it's like we're paying quarterbacks that aren't elevating the game right now. And what I mean by that is you're paying guys like Jared Goff that's not elevated the game. You got guys like I'm going to come out and say Carson Wentz hasn't elevated the game for the past 2 years. But then you got guys like Deshaun Watson. You got guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, who still doesn't have $100 million, but Zach, why is that? What is it with the new age? I mean, Matt Ryan's still getting paid a lot. I don't understand this, and Matt Ryan hasn't been good in a while. It doesn't make sense.
Every time a franchise pays a quarterback, it doesn't work out. Name one time it has. Packers haven't won the Super Bowl since Rodgers got paid. The Texans have fallen off a cliff. The Seahawks don't do anything year in and year out. The Rams don't do anything year in and year out nowadays. The Falcons haven't done anything at all. The Eagles haven't done anything at all. The Cowboys, which you haven't really paid them yet, haven't really done anything either. The Lions with Matt Stafford haven't done anything. These are good quarterbacks, but it's not the right thing to do. Garoppolo got paid. The Niners got to reevaluate some things.
I didn't even think of that. That's another bad one, Zach. You paid Jimmy Garoppolo after what? He tears his ACL to 1 year, takes you to the Super Bowl next year. But Zach, let's be honest, the defense was playing outstanding, and the run game. I don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen,
quarterback. He works. I love Jimmy. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the perfect fit in San Francisco, but he's not worth more than $25 million a year. That's my cap. I wouldn't pay a quarterback more than $25 million. I want a system guy because otherwise, like Russell Wilson, he puts way too much pressure on himself. Carson Wentz, I don't want a quarterback like that. It's nothing against those guys. That's how good they are. I want a quarterback that's in a system so that I can put my money into the O-line. I can put my money into the weapons. That's how you build a franchise. That's how you build a football team. And that's why, frankly, Jalen Hurts will not fan out in Philadelphia. They're going to put too much pressure on him the same way they did Wentz. And I hate to say it. The Tom Brady's of the world, the Jimmy Garoppolos of the world, the Peyton Mannings of the world, the guys who aren't going to move around forever. It's cool. It's fun to watch in the regular season. It wins MVP, but it doesn't win rings. And you can say Mahomes, but Mahomes likes to stay in the pocket. Let's be real here. He moves around great, but he likes staying in the pocket. He's not like Lamar where he's running nonstop. And there's reasons for that because your O-line is garbage. So maybe that exposes it. And nowadays, instead of just being a bad team, your athleticism can escape these issues. But you got to build around your quarterback, not just pay him and say, all right, we're done. We're not going to do anything to help you. Now we're going to trade away your best receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. But, those are some stories for a different time.
Bill Belichick and Marvin Lewis. Why I name those two guys? More Bill Belichick than ever. If you want to win, you're going to take the hometown discount like Tom Brady has done numerous times to bring people in. Look at the people they brought in. And look at the key.
You're able to pay Wes Welker, Edelman, Randy Moss, although he didn't want to ring there,
Gronkowski, then the defense, Stephon Gilmore, Gerard Mayo, and the crew, Chandler Jones. Zach, we're looking at a league where if you want to win, you can't pay anybody, really. You can't pay. No one can take up not one person can take up 50% of your cap. All right, everybody, it has to be equal effort.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like Trevor Lawrence will work out in this league. I'll tell you that right now because he'll be a pocket quarterback and he'll be in a system. I love Justin Fields. Think he's a tough kid. I think he'll have playoff success, but never get to the brass ring. Zach Wilson could be there. There's this type of player that is it's hard to explain. Mahomes fits like Mahomes. I could see having success because he wants to be in the pocket. But some of these other guys put way too much pressure on themselves, and then they get a lot of money. Like, what's Kansas City going to do now when the cap is dying out? I have nothing else to say on that. I hate to say it because Lamar Jackson, I'd love to see him have a ring. Great kid, great story, 32nd overall pick. That should be a movie, honestly. Like Tom Brady's 199th. Like, let's be real here. All the teams that passed up on him. I mean, you have Mahomes, you have Deshaun Watson, both falling in their top 10, but falling after Trubisky. There's certain type of player. Like, let's think of the last 5 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks: Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Nick Foles, Patrick Mahomes. I can't remember that far back. I guess Drew Brees. Those 5. 4 of those 5 are standing statues. You like to call them, Gavin. The quarterback position is changing to become more mobile, but not mobile to run, mobile to buy more time, and that's how teams need to look at things. And even if they're mobile,
Eli Manning,
too much money. Eli Manning, you're right. Too much, and he's a standing statue as well. Too much money will ruin the team if you pay too much to the quarterback. I've been very adamant about how much I care about players' rights and how they've been treated. I'm not like Deshaun Watson. I'm not happy at all how they are treating him in Houston. At the same time, he did enter that contract willingly, but again, if you refuse to build around him, how can you expect him to want to stay? It's a difficult situation. The O-line is where it matters. The D-line is where it matters. And the coaching staff and the respect part is where it matters as well. And that's where the money should go.
I'm going to leave it just like that. Standing statues, Zach, you know how I feel about standing statues. I feel like, yes, they get the job done because they look the pass.
But it's because of everybody around them. It's not because of them. It doesn't make sense, but it does. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, we looked at Ben Roethlisberger. He said, Zach, he can't move no more. All right, I think he moves in quicksand. Him and Tom Brady himself. But Zach,
Brady looked good. Brady looked pretty mobile moving around the pocket this year, I have to say.
And that's why his knee hurts. That's why his knee hurts. But Zach,
he's enjoying it in Tampa Bay.
Call it Tampa Bay? Did you just call it Tampa Bay?
I didn't come up with it. I heard it.
Well, anyway, my final remarks is this. Yes, the pocket passing quarterback works, but Zach, you know how I'm a big believer in the mobile quarterback. I think that's the next one. I mean, Zach, we gotta look at the mobile quarterbacks. So was there. Colin Kaepernick was in there at one point. Russell Wilson actually won the Super Bowl. All right. Joe Flacco was also a standing statue. You didn't think about that. But Zach, mobile quarterbacks are probably going to be just generation. We got a lot of them. Trey Lance coming up. Lamar Jackson's still here. Jalen Hurts is starting his regime. Pat Mahomes moves when he wants to. Aaron Rodgers still has some wheels. Surprises me.
No, Aaron Rodgers is a very can be mobile quarterback
when he wants to be. I don't know. Kyler Murray, Zach. We're in a generation where we have to figure out what's going to win, and I think the first mobile quarterback that might win a championship might be Lamar Jackson, Baltimore. That's just me. I'll leave it on that one.
Times are changing. Let's see how the NFL responds. But yeah, look, that's interesting. We just named 8 quarterbacks, and 7 or 8 minus 1 have been considered by our standard standing stature. So interesting one, but everybody, thank you so much for watching today. If you are watching this on Wednesday, we're figuring out some scheduling for traditional live streams because we have a lot of sports to cover. And including on top of that, Ben Simmons, number 1 on the defensive ladder right now. Also, number 1, Joel Embiid on the MVP ladder. This Sixers team is poised
to wait a minute. Your guy's the number 1 no more? Oh man,
in 2 weeks. LeBron's been off since the four game skid.
Hey, you should never been on there in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back during the week. The Phillies are back. That means depression is starting to kick it. No, I was playing. But
I got a new hat. New year. If the Phillies go to the playoffs this year, I'm wearing that hat for life.
If the Phillies go to the playoffs, you would never hear me complain ever again. But that's not happening, Zach. We're not going.
I disagree, but look, hey, that's for a different time. Everybody, thank you so much for watching today. Again, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson situation. As we continue to bring it in details, thank you again for your support. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.